All right, we are prepping for the next trip. Got some new camping gear. We camped the last night down there. We'd been staying in hotels, and you know what? That did not go well. So we needed to reshuffle the deck. Um, the old weed eater wasn't cutting it. Neither was the old chainsaw. So we got some new gear. We decided to camp this time. No more hotel. Efficiency was the mantra for this trip. Staying at the hotel, I felt like we were burning 2 hours a day, going from the hotel to here, getting ice, all kinds of stupid stuff like that. And I'm like, hey, we really need to try and maximize the time down here. Efficiency is a big deal for me. I'm a real stickler for efficiency. So you can see we got a generator. I'm not going to put a link in the description for that. This is an older model. This is from 2021. The thing's fine. It's not that great. I also have 10 AC now. I have a little AC unit in the tent. So here's some of the stuff that we brought along with us. You may not be into guns or anything, and that's fine. We're out here in the middle of nowhere, and as you're going to see coming up here, it's weird. So over at Windrock, which is Windrock Off-Road Park, which is about 15 minutes away, they get rattlesnakes up on the mountains. We don't get them here. There's said to be some bears. I don't know what tore that apart, but it wasn't a dog. That was my little in-ground grill, so I had to rebuild that. You can see where something stepped on it and mashed it up. Could it have been kids or drunkards that are up here 4x4? And who knows? I'm not sure. But we're out here. We're camping now. We've got a generator, a coffee maker, a good sleep mat. We've got the water line hooked up, so now I can get a shower with a hose. This is, running through the 4th of July weekend. We got up here July 2nd and stayed for about 13 days. So I was like, hey, the water's going to be a little cold coming from, the hose. But hey, it's hot out. We're sweating like crazy. This is July in Tennessee. So, hey, who needs hot water? We're going to give it a shot. And you know what? Things went pretty well on this trip. But you do realize, hey, this is a good plan, but we need to do some other stuff. And if you look in the front of the tent, you can see under that black trash bag, that's just a little window air unit. So I've got that hooked up to this generator. We just let that bad boy run. So, the dog had AC in the tent during the day, and we had that thing at night. So, here we are, down at the bottom of the driveway. Now, that Echo brush cutter that I've got, man, that thing is an animal. You got to be careful with it. And you'll see a lot of wood chips here, too. So some of this is from, I brought those guys back and I had them running the chipper. I think you saw that in a frame earlier. So they had done about 11 hours of chipping, 2 guys, so I guess it's 22 man hours. But, they tore it up and they got it going on. And it's nice because the thing I like about the chipper is it acts as like a mulch. A lot of people, when they're doing land clearing, they just burn everything. I would prefer not to. The chipping, it's expensive to rent the machine and then pay guys to do it. But I was trying to make this entryway to the property, the base of the driveway decent. So it's like, hey, it's not free mulch because I'm paying for the rental and these guys. But you know what, let's try and make it look nice and be, sensibly environmentally friendly. Well, anyhow, you can see up here on this hillside, I cleared a whole bunch back. And I'm pointing out some bigger trees that I want to drop to get sunlight on the driveway. You can see there's a lot more sunlight on the driveway. I want this thing to be able to dry out after it rains. Trying to keep the leaves off of it, keep the leaves out of the ditch so we don't have erosion issues. And man, I'll tell you what, it's headed in the right direction. So you can see, between the chipping and the brush cutting. Now that Echo brush cutter, it is designated as a brush cutter, but you can put a trimmer head on it. So I bought a trimmer head so I can use it as a weed eater, or I can use it as a brush cutter. That thing is an animal. I will be putting a link in the description for that. that sleep mat, and then the steel chainsaw. So here I'm talking about, I'm going to drop this tree here, and you know what? Boom. I thought I was the man. I dropped it exactly where I wanted to. You can see where it's at between those trees. I'm like, I'm not a sports guy, but I'm like, look at that touchdown. Got it right between the goalpost. I'm the man. This is awesome. And then I'm getting ready to do the next tree up the way. So something that I should have done that I didn't do was, you're eyeballing these trees, you're on a hillside, you're above the driveway. It kind of creates optical illusions. I should have took a plumb line and stood on the driveway and checked from a couple different angles to see what way, not this tree, but the next tree was leaning. I was thinking I'm going to drop this thing up the driveway to, keep it away from the power lines and keep it from going out on the road. And you know what? I realized at this point, this is not going well. I don't have enough wedges to get it to go where I want it to go, but it's unstable at this point. You can see the wedges in the back, and it's not happening. And then next thing you know, the tip of it nicks the power line. You hear a big boom and sparks are flying, and I had to call the power company and tell them myself. So these guys came out, they checked everything out, and they were basically like, you basically just tripped a breaker, so to speak. You're fine. Who cares? And that was pretty nice, because I wasn't really looking to pay for, a repair of the grid. So here I got a leaner going across the driveway. I got the 6,000 pound winch on the X3 hooked up to that. Pulling that guy right down. Like, when you're doing this work by yourself, I'll tell you this 2019 Can-Am X3 XRS, it's a Turbo R. This is like what you would consider a peak performance machine. But, you can still use it as a utility machine. I've got the 6,000 pound winch on the front. I've got the trailer hitch on the back. It's got high and low range and stuff like that. So you can still use something like that, for utility. And here we are, we're cooking. I pre-made some omelets and just put the toppings on there. Gotta eat. Now, this is pretty much the end of the trip. I'm showing you up top. Again, efficiency is key. You can see everything's growing up. It's July. I could try and weed eat all this. I could run a bush hog and try and knock it out, but let's just leave it be, because, I'd like to see it all groomed up and nice and everything like that. But, it's a few hours of time that you're wasting, 9 hours away from home. So let's just focus on the driveway. That was, again, on this trip, this is trip number 4. We were focusing on the driveway. Those guys with the chip, I rented the chipper and they would come run it. I think they put about 33 hours in, which is like 66 hours in man hours, because there was 2 of them, and they knocked it out of the park. The one guy that was helping the guy that I hired, I think he about had it. His back was in spasm at the end of the day. The guy I hired, we call him Little Bear. Little Bear just worked him too hard, and I was like, look, bud, I won't let him do this to you again. Can you come back? And he said, nah, this is the last trip for me. You're cool. Thanks for the money, but I'll just stick to my 9 to 5. So it was kind of sad to see that we had lost that one guy. And you can see it's a huge improvement. The bank is going to be continuously growing, random sprouts and weeds and stuff, but it's pretty cleared up. You can see I blew a lot of the leaves down the bank, trying to get a line of defense going. You can see an area right there that didn't get trimmed up because I got nailed by a bunch of bees. It's, July, there's snakes out, bees everywhere. I probably got into 3 or 4 different yellow jacket nests, the ones that burrow in the ground. And I'll tell you what, when you're tired and you get tagged up by about 15 or 20 bees, you are wide awake again. Who needs an energy drink when you're getting stung to hell and back? And that's fine. It is what it is. This is nature, and I'm in it, so it is what it is. But you can see down here, it's pretty good. It's pretty groomed up. This is an off-grid property. I don't need it to look like, residential real estate, but I would like to keep the driveway healthy and, be able to see a little bit. You got a creek down here that was just full of weeds and shrubs and all kinds of junk. It's like, hey, we've got a creek that is like kind of a, I guess you would call a premium feature for a property. I want to see my creek, so you get down there with a brush cutter and you start opening it up. And I think I spent either 12 or 13 days down here on this trip around the 4th of July holiday in 2021. And, you can only do so much as one person. I had this guy's helping me with the chipper, which really, really moves things along, with those two guys working, I guess it was 33 hours, which is 66 man hours. I mean, all I would have done the whole time was chip if it wasn't for having them. So God bless those guys. And, they know I appreciated their hard work. But yeah, it's actually kind of coming together now. You can see up the driveway. I didn't take the truck up there this time, but I would have felt totally comfortable driving it up there. It's a 04 Silverado SS all-wheel drive. I'd done a ton of work to that thing, souping it up, and little do we know, I'm about to lose my $4,000 transmission on the way home. I made it all the way home, but basically it ate the torque converter, and it's about to go back down again. And boy, this was, one of those things where you just don't know what's coming, but at least I made it home, But yeah, this is, getting close to the end of the video here. One thing I want to leave you with is, don't be a sissy. I had new boots. I should have broke them in. I ended up blistering my toes up within the first couple of days. Tape it up. Be a man. You don't got to go David Goggins and run around on broken feet, but you can still make it happen. So get out there, get it done, and here we are home again. Miss Lily's got a bully stick. She's happy. See you on the next one.